All right. Who wants to tell me the words they chose? Eric, what were your 5 words?
In, I can, that.
Hold up. In right here.
Yeah.
Okay. That. This, that.
Second one. Go down 2 lines.
That one. That one. Okay.
And then little.
Okay.
Remaining.
Okay.
And present.
And what was your average?
6.2.
Were those your words, Nate? All right. So Eric got an average of 6.2. Let's see. Who do I want to pick on? All right, Nate, go ahead.
Pick 4. We in the 4th line.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Little.
The same little he used?
Same little.
That's it. We both used little. That's where we got it.
Unfinished. 2 lines down. And then increase. 2 lines down from that.
Thank you. And you also got 6.2?
I also get 6.2.
Well, that's a stupid average, right, Tyler? Right, Tyler, what'd you get?
I went with R.
Right here? I
Yeah.
hope so. It's an R, so.
Consecrated.
Oof. Okay. You guys like the edge words.
And then have.
H-A-V-E.
Yeah.
Saw Gabe. Where's have? There's a have. Okay.
And then engaged.
Where is it? Top, bottom, middle? There it is. Okay.
And then great.
Great.
It's like the 3rd line.
1, 2. Great. Battlefield. Thank you. And what was your average, Tyler?
6.
Okay. A little less stupid of an average. All right. One more. Alex?
I chose civil in the 3rd line.
Speak up louder. I'm old.
I chose civil in the 3rd line.
Okay.
And then I also chose war in that line also. It's right next to civil.
That would have been too easy for me to see. Okay.
Then I chose brave
I see it.
on the 8th line.
Okay.
And then I also chose men, which is right next to that one also. And then I chose freedom, which is somewhere in there.
And what was your average?
4.6.
Okay. All right. So, what was wrong with how we did our sample?
It's biased
Why?
because what you need, like there is a thing one and then there's different ones.
Okay. Well, if we do a random sample in period, we should all get different answers. But we are choosing our own words. And so there is bias. Do you think that by choosing our own words, we're underestimating or overestimating the actual length? How many of you say under? Show of hands. Over. And then those of you that just didn't vote. You're not going to vote now? Thanks, Calvin, for at least being honest. Didn't vote. All right, so now we're going to do an actual random sample of the words from the Gettysburg Address. So on the next page, it's broken down with each word numbered. There are 268 words in the Gettysburg Address. So you're going to use either your calculator with a random integer function, or use table D if you want to, but then you would have to do 3-digit labels. 01 is, that's not a 3-digit number. 001, 002. I suggest the calculator. Get 5 unique numbers between 1 and 268. And then I'm going to call on 4, I think I had 4 of you share your average from the warm-up. And I'll have 4 more of you share your average when you did it randomly, and we'll compare that. It was her. You had your hand up, and I started to walk, and I heard, oh, wait. And I thought it was you, but it was her. Somebody said, oh, wait. Either that or I'm losing my mind.
I know, so
Math,
You were supposed to know. Yeah.
But it's fine.
My teacher, we thought we just want to walk.
Like whatever.
It was cold outside. I'm really upset.
What was your point?
It's just health.
Yeah, I have one.
I went on the walk.
But that's healthy. I said
Yeah.
it's
It's incredibly cold, and I'm
But I
sick.
just, and I thought, where's my ankle? That's like if I made you want to walk. That's what I was going to ask.
You pick math. Go to number 5.
Wait.
1. You're the lower. No. Oh, go to PRB. Sorry. Math, PRB. Number 5. And then 1, comma, 268, comma, 5. Calvin.
268.
Yeah, 'cause if you flip, that's the.
Okay, goodbye.
Do you need a calculator too? Anybody else need a calculator while I'm at it? Alex? The average? So there's 3 letters there. 4, 2, 4, 6. So you do 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1, 6. I don't know if I should be a little worried that you chose that word twice.
Completely random.
I'll choose another word. You chose the word dead. Oh, twice. No, just one. On the, if you're using this, you would have to use 001, but the calculator, it's just 1. 268. And then you want 5 numbers. So you put comma 5. Did you already hit down? You already hit down, it won't let you scroll. Don't ask me why, it's a glitch in their programming.
So I just do it again.
Yeah, and then don't move up or down. It's to the right. It's really annoying.
Extremely stupid. Thank you.
Oh, so what?
Like, that was one of this, right?
I'm just gonna tell everybody. All right. Something that I forgot about because I used a newer calculator. If you're using an older calculator, when you choose your sample,
And then I have to do comma.
and it has this arrow to the right so that you have to scroll to the right to see it. Even my initial thought is, oh, I should highlight that row so I can scroll, but if you do that, then you can't. So you have to, once you get your sample, don't move up or down any, just scroll to the right, and it'll allow you to see all the numbers. I don't know why it's written to do that, but it is. It's annoying. But if you go up, which to me is the natural thought, to go up and highlight the rows so you can scroll, then it messes it up. All right, let's see. Maddie, I'm going to pick on you.
I got 5.
What were your words?
They were, oh shoot.
Oh, shoot. I don't
went
know if,
down,
I don't know if Abraham Lincoln said oh shoot in
It
there.
was cause,
Numbers.
214,
Okay.
256.
Hold on, I'm not that fast.
Sorry.
214, 256.
60. 100, and then 3.
Okay, I know where 3 is. 100 is right there. All right, and you got an average of 5. Okay. Carter.
251.
251.
29.
29.
2.
2.
148. And 30.
3.
33.
30. And what was your average?
4.4.
4.4. Let's see. Who else do I want to pick on? Michelle.
2,
Say it a little louder.
2,
Okay.
60, 100, 100.
Hold up. 260, 100, 250, 50, 15.
15.
Okay.
And then 256.
Okay.
And
Um,
then average is 5.
Okay. Bianca.
Now
197. Okay.
12.
Okay.
267.
I'm sorry.
54.
54. And what was your average? Did you say you don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had 4 in this. Endure is 6. Live is 4. The is 3. And the is 3. Divided by 5, we get 4. Alright. So the averages we got when we chose the words. 4.6, 6, 6.2, 6.2. When we used random sampling, 5, 4.4, 5, 4. So like Hannah said, when we chose them, we introduced bias. Interestingly, I noticed something I've never noticed before with you guys. But what I tend to see when I do this every year is that kids get drawn to longer words, which makes sense. When you have them all written together like this, our eyes tend to pick out the longer words. And so we do tend to overestimate the actual length of the words in the speech. The other thing I noticed with you guys, though, and like I said, I've never noticed it as much, you guys chose words on the edge, which I thought was kind of interesting. I've never had classes where I felt like they chose words on the edges. Anyway, so when we chose our words, we overestimated the actual average length of the words for the Gettysburg Address is 4.28. So we did
That's all I
them.
got.
Did you really?
I don't even know what pencil is.
I believe you, Sam. So that's the average, the true average. So notice that the random sampling got us closer. When we got to choose, we overestimated. Like I said, our eyes tend to be drawn to longer words. So today we're going to talk about inference for sampling. Down below, we're always going to use a sample to give us information about the population. The process of drawing conclusions about a population based on the sample is called inference, because we infer information about the population from what we know about the sample. If you are drawing inferences about the population from a poor sample, it's misleading. What are our poor sampling techniques we talked about yesterday? Avery?
Was one of them just like, I don't remember the specific name, but it was just like when you get really in their face or something like that. It was like you have to be, you made it to, or it's like a, and it's
Tyler?
Convenience sample.
Convenience sample. I think that's what you were thinking of, Avery. You want to get results quickly. And what was the other one we talked about? No, that was it. That's a good sampling method. Cheyenne? Voluntary response. That is when Ann Landers asked people to write in about whether they'd have kids again or not. And I said, no. I would have kids again if I could go back.
The convenience sample is like the company shows with the ambiguity and stuff like that.
No, my example for convenience was the people at Costco who are trying to get people to sign petitions. Just going somewhere where you can access a lot of people to get quick results.
What about the one that I just mentioned, what is that?
The NBA one, that was, I had you guys figure out how to use the NBA arena to find a stratified random sample and a cluster sample. All right, good sampling always utilizes what? What was the difference between the warm-up and how we found them here? Carter? Chance, randomness. You always utilize randomness. So there are some issues that obviously can arise when you are sampling, even if you are using a good sampling method. So we're going to talk about some sampling errors and non-sampling errors. So an error that is made in the process of taking a sample that could lead to inaccurate information about the population is called a sampling error, which we're going to do an example problem in a minute, and I don't know how more clear I can be. I'm lazy when it comes to writing, so I'm going to abbreviate sampling error as SE. So a sampling error could be the use of bad sampling methods such as convenience or voluntary response, like we just talked about. A sampling error could be a problem with the list of individuals we use to select our sample. By the way, the list is called the sampling frame. when some groups are left out of the process of choosing the sample, we have what's called under coverage. In my example here, is phone surveys. So not everybody has a phone. So you're leaving out people who don't have phones. You're leaving out people who keep their phone number unlisted. So that's an example of under coverage. I'm going to abbreviate people. And then there are surveys. I don't know if you guys ever talk to your parents about this stuff they get in the mail. There are household surveys. I think I get them quite often because I actually will participate in them because I think it's kind of fun because, well, I teach statistics. But so I'll get surveys. I think I actually have one. There's a survey company here. I can't remember the name. Look at that. See, they even send you $1 to make you do it. And then if you like actually participate and continue filling them out, then they'll send you another $1. But so they do send them out to households, which, like I said, I do them because I think it's cool because I teach stats. And I do the Arbor Day one, and I like all of them. I think they're fun. But household surveys leave out homeless people. So there are issues with how you choose people to be in your survey, and that's a sampling error. Then there are errors that are made after the sample has already been determined. And these are called non-sampling errors. And in a minute, when we do an example question, I'll abbreviate it as NSE. So when an individual who is chosen for a sample cannot be contacted or refuses to participate, this is known as non-response. And I don't know why I will say I'm one of those who's non-response. I'll fill out the survey they send me in the mail, but I won't answer my phone if I don't know the number. And so I'm sure I miss phone surveys. Although my husband likes to answer the phone no matter who it is. I won't answer if I don't have it saved as a contact. And he answered my phone one day and handed it to me. Didn't even say hello. He just answered it, like hit the green button, handed it to me. So then I get on the phone and it's this guy and he wants to do a survey, and I'm like, well, you know what? My husband answered it, so I'm going to do the survey. It took 30 minutes. It was so ridiculous. I was like, this is why I don't do the phone surveys. Like, I can do a paper survey and it's... I didn't want to be rude. I had already started answering his questions. And so I didn't want to be rude at that point, and that's why I don't answer them. Say that again now?
Is Tommy taking too long?
Well, and there were times, like, It was, I can't remember exactly what it was about, but it had to do with kids in the household. And so there were questions where I was like, I'm not going to answer that. Like, I'm not going to give you information about my kids. Just, I don't know. It took a long time. So I guess that's my example there, is phone surveys. A lot of times people don't answer, or like Hannah said, why didn't you just hang up? Sometimes I do answer, or my daughter will answer, or my husband, I hear like an automated survey and I'll hang up on those. So for phone surveys, you have people who don't answer, you have people who hang up. And I can't spell surveys. I missed my Y, but I got it to fit in there. And anymore, I don't think this is an example of non-response, but I have seen teenagers answer the phone and they mess with the telemarketer. Yeah. All right, a systematic pattern of incorrect responses in a sample survey leads to response bias. And I guess that might be where this fits in, where kids mess with the telemarketer, where you just make up answers or you lie just to mess with them. I've had kids, I can't remember who it was last year in my stats class. And I can't even remember. It was one of those like yesterday where I asked you guys to share how long you spend online, but it wasn't that question. And some kid purposely lied, and I knew he was lying, but I went with his answer. And then at the end, he was like, I did it just to mess with all your data. And I forgot to put mess with because I was talking. I should not talk and write. When you are making a sample survey, careful attention should be shown to the wording. You don't want your wording to lead them to a certain answer. You don't want your wording to give away the answer you want people to give or think they should give. Any questions? All right, so now we're going to look at some sample questions. So a researcher wants to estimate the average distance that students at a large community college live from campus. To find out, she surveys and SRS the students from the registrar's database. Before I go further, what does SRS mean again? Simple, random sample. So A, will the researcher's sample result be exactly the same as the true population mean? How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? And then there's, of course, those of you that don't raise your hand. Shows me. No, it's not going to be the same. Why won't it be the same? Except for Sam being super awesome, did we get the same average?
No.
No. Carter?
It's also a community college, so larger colleges could have way bigger campuses.
Right, but we're only focused on this one community college. So she's going to take, let's say the community college has, 5,000 students. She goes to the registrar's office and she picks 50 of them. So why would the mean that she gets not be the same as if she interviewed all 5,000? Tyler?
With like, if you did the true population mean, you'd be taking into account every single student, right? And averaging that. But if you did random sample, that's what it would be.
Yeah. It's just, it really isn't going to, you're not looking at the whole population. So you're, unless you're like Sam and pretty darn cool, you're not going to get the exact mean that you would with the population. It should be similar. but it's not going to be exact. That's known as sampling variability, where you have some variability just because you're using a sampling variability. Which would be more likely to get the researcher's sample result closer to the, sorry, I don't know how to spell, true population value? An SRS of 100 students or an SRS of 100 students or an SRS of 50 students? Which one's going to be better, 50 or 100? Why?
Because it's like there's more diversity.
Okay. She is right. 100 students would be better. More data means you're more accurate. Bigger sample sizes are always better. You're going to get tired of me saying that, but a bigger sample size is always better. Anytime there's issues with data, the first thing they always do is they always go, okay, well, let's try it with a bigger sample size. See if that fixes the issue. A lot of times it does. And my English just sucks today. Sorry. It's always better. How long before school starts do students get out of bed on average? Administrators survey a random sample of students on each school bus one morning. Give a reason why this survey might yield a biased result and explain the likely direction of bias. Nadi?
They're only surveying kids on a bus.
And what does that mean?
They're not surveying like kids who walk to school, kids who get rides, so they're not surveying everyone.
Okay, Michelle? Say it a little louder. A convenience. Okay. Cheyenne?
Kids who get on the bus wake up earlier.
Yeah, kids who get on the bus wake up earlier, right? I mean, for the most part, at least in the Medford School District, they only offer the bus if you live a certain distance away from the school. So, like, we live close enough to the school that my kids can't get a bus route because we live too close. So they expect us to drive our kids. Kids who have to ride the bus live further away from the school, so they would, on average, get up earlier to catch the bus. So, bus riders get up earlier. I'm really struggling today. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Riders does not have a G. And like Maddie said, it's not really fair to only interview bus riders. Any questions before I flip my paper over? Right, one more sample question, and then I'm going to have you guys do the exit task on your own today. All right, a study in El Paso, Texas looked at seatbelt use by drivers. Drivers were observed at randomly chosen convenience stores. After they left their cars, they were invited to answer questions. Yeah, I'm sorry. My writing is really off today. They were invited to answer questions about seatbelt use. In all, 75% said they always used seatbelts, yet only 61.5% were wearing seatbelts when they pulled into the store parking lots. Explain the reason for the bias observed in responses to the survey. Do you expect bias in the same direction in most surveys about seatbelt use? So why would we have bias? Why would 75% say they use their seatbelt when we observed only 61.5% doing it? Nate?
The people surveyed are more likely to lie because it's kind of like a sensitive topic.
A sensitive topic? Okay. What makes it sensitive?
It's also illegal.
It's illegal. Okay. Sensitive / illegal, legal topic. So would we expect bias in the same direction for most surveys about seatbelt use? Carter?
If they also took it at convenience stores and most people just go there to just grab something real quick.
So you think it was a time, like a quick thing? Okay. Are you trying to tell us, Carter, that when you go to the convenience store, you don't wear your seatbelt? Really? You wear your seatbelt?
And my car will beep.
Does that really keep you from not putting your seatbelt on?
It's very
Well, sounds like Michelle has driven without her seatbelt.
Experience it.
It beeps how often?
Like every 2 minutes, my passenger, I'm like, can you please get your seatbelt on? Like, annoyances.
Topic? Say, say that again, Calvin.
Oh yeah, like when you first turn it on, it like beeps.
How new are your guys' cars?
Old. We're broke.
Mine's a 2018. It'll tell me like if it won't. I don't know. I don't ever drive without anybody buckled. I'll stop the car and be like, put your seatbelt on. But my car will tell me like if I have stuff on my front seat that I should buckle. And I'm like, I'm not going to buckle in a bag. Like I don't know what the weight amount is, but it'll be like, there's somebody in the seat, they should be buckled. And it's like, but it doesn't beep. It's like low enough weight that they know that it's not a person, but they're also like, is it a person? Should it be buckled? I'm like, it's kind of weird. And it's right up by the rear view mirror, so it catches my eye. So we already talked about, we would expect bias in most surveys about seatbelt use. What if it was an anonymous survey? Maddie says if it's anonymous, people would be more truthful. Is that what you're thinking? Did I spell that right? Hopefully. Although I think by now you guys know I'm not very good with spelling and language. all that jazz. Alright, you guys are going to try the exit task. The first one, just identify, there are 3 examples. Is it a sampling error or a non-sampling error? And then on number 2, explain why the wording of the question is biased, and specify which way you think it'll lead people to answer. You got this. Except for Carter, he's walking away. Carter.
I already did it.
Oh, okay. I won't pick on you, Carter. Sorry. I know. It makes me feel really bad now. Like the yellow pages? They still deliver that thing.
Really?
Yeah, but it's
Have you ever
only
seen people
business.
rip phone books in half?
Not in person.
Me neither, but I've seen these.
I don't know, maybe in psychology they have a name for it. I don't know what it is. Hannah, when the wording is the wording of the question is when it leads to bias. What is that called?
Oh, the leading question?
Is it just word bias? Because I can't remember the actual like name for it.
Or like what's the operational definition?
Yeah.
In law, they would call it a leading
Yeah.
question. So,
It's just operational definition. Like,
We just call it a non-sampling error. All right, Carter put the first 3 up for us. So using the telephone directory as your sampling frame would be a sampling error. B, person can't be contacted in 5 calls. That's non-sampling error. That's a non-response issue. Interviewer chose people walking by on the sidewalk to interview. That's a sampling error because you're using a bad sampling method, convenience. And I haven't picked anybody to do the bottom line yet. I have an answer. Well, I said pay attention to the wording. What is it about the wording of the question? I don't think so. I mean, no?
because they're they but
No. There's something about the wording of the question. No. Just the question. I can't see it.
It was like, I can't replay it now, but it was Jake's, and Jake's giving a presentation from himself.
In a minute, will you what her answer for? Will you what you put for her answer? Yeah. Thank you, Jillian. All right, and now it's going to add to it a little bit. Alright, so Jillian said that by comparing diapers to the beverage containers, which had a higher percentage, they're basically saying that the diapers are no big deal. So that led people to say that it really isn't a big deal. Noah added that it wasn't just beverage containers. They took beverage containers, third-class mail, and yard waste. They put a bunch of things together to compare against one so that they had something that had a higher percent. Also, going off of the whole word bias, this word's not a nice word to use. Ban has negative connotations to it, and so saying, oh, we must ban them, it makes people think that it's a really, really bad thing, where if you just said, I can't think of a different word, but you have to be careful that words that tend to have positive connotations or negative connotations are avoided. When you word questions, you should choose neutral words. And of course, I'm drawing a blank. What could you say instead of ban? Get rid of. Yeah.
Michelle said reduce.
Reduce. Reduce is, I would say, better, because you're not getting rid of it altogether, but you're saying that it's a problem.
Regulate?
Regulate, yeah. But that's a big thing with questions, is they'll pick questions that ban tends to be, something you use when it's a negative issue. So you have to be careful of those kind of words. Any questions? Alex?
Say continue use. Yeah.
Discontinue? Would it be fair to discontinue? I don't know. That one kind of still has negative. It's hard. That's why it's really important to pay close attention to your words, because some words that you don't think mean negative stuff could end up leading people to a negative answer.